Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Captain Angel, and in today's video I'll be showing you the process as I go through working on my original character Alexander and turning him into as a realistic guy as possible. Now, as you can probably tell by my artworks already that I draw in the very anime manga / cartoony art style. Now the point of this challenge is to be able to test my skills as an artist and being able to see how I can adapt to, of course, doing other styles and see how much I can attempt to do a more realistic style. Now, of course, as the artists know, you probably hear this all the time, especially not in the beginning stages of course, probably much later on because you are not aware of it, or if you are aware of it but you don't pay attention to it, and that you're always told is to try to learn realism or more realistic styles as will help us with the things that we want to draw, especially if they're more cartoony, to help us be able to understand how the body works and how our bodies move in flinch and control. But the point is that when I do say that, it's not for us to not be able to draw the styles we want, but to be able to start to get a better fundamental understanding of how faces work in 3D, and then how we can shape and take those 3D faces and structures and apply them to our own styles and things that influence us. Now, as you'll see me throughout the process of this video, I'll be going through how I did that and how I made that happen. Now, one of the first things I did was, of course, well, I want to turn my character and make it more realistic. Well, how did I do that? Well, the first thing I did was I took a bunch of references, but not just any references of different male faces that I knew closely related to how I felt my character would look, like in a more realistic sense. I knew I wanted to have like a strong jaw and cheekbone and certain like imagery and effects to reflect the kind of character he is. Because one of the things that influenced Alexander as a character as a whole was my love for alternative fashion and visual kei. So I knew I wanted to get references of male people in general and everything that reflect that imagery and also show that it could be take to and apply to on itself. Now, again, the reason for this is because I want to be able to capture the vibe of him as a real person. So pretty much what I did was I made sure that the reference I used, he will look very Caucasian and European. Because, fact, guys, yeah, Alexander's actually British. If I didn't make that clear, I know there's a few times I made it clear in a certain imagery and artwork, but he's British. And one of the things for anime art style is that characters don't necessarily look like their nationality all the time. They can look not so like, oh, this character is actually Indian or this character is Chinese. The anime art style, you can just have a character and have the kind of nationality, but they don't always have to reflect it, which is one of the very unique things about this style. But now what I'm doing, as you can see with this piece, is I'm trying to add light into the hair. Now, one of the things that I struggled with on this piece mainly was the lighting, because I'm not that knowledgeable on trying to cast lighting in a realistic sense onto the person. In this case, Alexander. I can do an anime and manga and cartoony way, but realistic is a more different, of course, because again, it's obtained to real life. So we want to make sure that the lighting stuff is closely linked to real hair, and it gives the fact that this is like a real person as much as we can. Um, and of course, as you see, I was struggling a bit with it because of, like I said, I not really good at that in a realistic attempt. So I'm just using my prior knowledge of how I would do it, or at least how I'm seeing the reference has it for real people when these pictures are taken and stuff, and how the light is being affected into the hair, and how I'm casting that. I'm also, as I'm going along doing this, is being able to like follow along with the reference images and using how they have shadow reflected onto these guys' faces. And the reason for that is also because again, I'm using these as a reference, as a guide of how I want to make sure to catch his face in a more realistic sense. I can go any other way of doing the shade myself, of course, but if I wanted to look very realistic, then I will need to be able to follow the preferences to help me be able to do that, to see how light will be cast on a more realistic person, to still give it the effect of 3D, but to make it look as real as I can without it looking like cartoony as he always is and stuff, which would have been a problem. But again, the point of this was to try to get as more realistic as I possibly can. So that's what I really wanted to aim up to end up doing. Now, as the rest of it going on with this, I'm just also as you can see, I'm saying playing on like the background and stuff. I didn't really try to do anything with the background. I pretty much kind of just settled on like something like just a brown background because again, I didn't want anything to kind of like clash against him. I just want to make sure he was the focus and everything how that looked, and make sure that he stands out and not be like overshadowed from the background. So the brown background was a very good choice for that because again it didn't overpower them, and again also going based off of those references that I had that helped me gave me that good decision making and be able to see like, hey, this looks well. We'll try applying this as well to the piece. Um, and also again, as I'm going through this and finalizing everything, there are some things that could have been fixed that I didn't aware of afterwards that I realized that were a tiny bit off. Just saying atomic errors, like the nose could have been a bit more longer or maybe shorter, and the mouth could have been a bit more higher. But I still really loved it enough that it came out really well, and I was very happy to do this challenge because again, I wanted to really much go outside my comfort zone and try to do some realistic as I can pieces. Because again, the most I did was like semi-realism. If you guys know what that is, that's not as realistic, but like halfway near realistic. Pretty much, it's like halfway between like slight cartoony and not so cartoony, not overly cartoony, but not overly realistic. That's pretty much what that is. And I have times I have done that, but I haven't really done like full on attempt at realism. So this was like one of those instances that I was able to actually be able to do it and understand it based on my experience with art all these years and just being able to like better understand how to like study and learn something, which I really did. And again, this was a fun challenge for me because again, it allowed me to go out of my comfort zone. It allowed me to just be able to do something that I haven't done before and be able to pretty much figure out and make decisions on how I wanted to interpret things and how they figure out how things should be in a more realistic aspect. Taking something that I know is like, oh, its hair is like this in my art style, which is more anime cartoony, and now I have to figure out how to turn it to something that's more realistic, and relying on real art imagery helped a lot in that aspect. But now I also want to share at the end a little thing. This is the last attempt you can see of awesome that I'm just sharing separately on the screen here. This was the last attempt I did. Again, it's more semi-realistic and not like this current drawing that we did that you saw me went through. That's obviously way more realistic than that attempt. Because again, I was just focused on still making an anime, but I would been a bit limited. And this one, my goal was like to make it very realistic as I can be. I had nothing but realistic references of guys and everything, just to be able to capture the phrase and everything. And I was very proud because I was like, again, it was a very fun thing to do, and I'm even doing it again now with one of my other characters, which I'll cover in a future video on that and how that attempt went. And again, I recommend it other artists and people to try something new outside your comfort zone if you haven't done it, especially if it's going to be very helpful for you and your art skills and allow you to continue growing as an artist. I definitely was really happy with this. I did not feel dissatisfied. I really enjoyed it as one of my favorite pieces of 2024 because again, it was just something I hadn't done before. And with the reason how I was able to capture my character in a more realistic light and how I wanted to interpret him if he was a real person and how he would be and everything in all that sense. Now, if you missed in this video, you would like to give me a like and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated because that does help a lot. And I'm very appreciative for those that have been sticking around, especially because I haven't been posting as much. Again, things happen as you can see in my last video. Well, everything know what's happened and why things are kind of halted and slowed down. But I'm trying to get back to things as best as I could because I do really want that and everything. But again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Take care and have fun out there.